Hello all. Following on from the perspective presentation, 1 point perspective and the slides, we're going to look at a sort of workshop and a step-by-step as how to produce a 1 point perspective drawing. This is the reference shown. Just so you know, I'm working in Vectorworks at the moment, just as a tool, just to show how you can build up a drawing. But this is easily done on a piece of paper, an A4 piece of paper with a pen, pencil, ruler, and a set square, which I'll run through another time. But this is just to show you the step by step as to how we can end up with this drawing here. We'll start with a basic plan, which is at the top, and section, which is your picture plane. So this section here is a scaled cut through your plan at this point. Every perspective, as we've discussed, has a station point. So this is the point in which your viewer is standing and then looking into the room. So all points will come back to the station point. What I've got here is a dimension drawing. So for those that are going to be drawing this by hand, we issue this which shows every dimension that you need. So these are shown in millimeters, so 8,500 millimeters, 6,600 here, but the drawing at A4 will be 1 to 100. So knowing that, all you need to do is draw this line at 6.6 centimeters. This line is at 8.6 centimeters. All this will become clear. This is just a little preview as to what we're going to be doing. So we'll start off setting up our drawing. I'll run through this step by step, where we look at our cone of vision, which we've discussed at 60 degrees. We've got a centre line which cuts through both drawings and is a line that is taken from the station point. And then on the section we'll have a ground line and a horizontal line. And the horizontal line is your chosen eye height, and typically it's around 1600 millimeters, so 1.6 millimeters. And then we start to work up the perspective, which we'll run through this step by step, so don't be scared by this drawing here. And then another section of that, and then this ends up with a sort of the clear drawing, which we've shown here. So I'll rattle through this. We've got a step-by-step guide which accompanies this, but what I'll do is I'll start drawing this in Vectorworks, but as said, this can be done on a piece of paper with pen and pencil, just so you know this is just a tool that we can use. So we'll be using the selection tool and the line tool mainly for this presentation and this exercise. So before we start, we've provided the plan and section as discussed. We've indicated the station point as to where it needs to be. And now in order to working up the section, we need to understand where our vanishing point is and work from there. So what we need to do is draw a centre line from our station point, which can run both through the plan, which is above, and through the section. We know that we need a ground line, and this is the bottom of our section cut here. So we take our line through here and treat this very much like you would a draft line on a piece of paper. So just treat it quite roughly. We can always tidy the drawing up at the end, but make sure that you note things as you go. So we know that we've got if we just copy this here, Command C, Command V for copy and paste, if you didn't know. So this is our GL, so this is our ground line. Which is at the base of the drawing. And just so we're clear, we can ensure that we line this through as this is our centre line, which comes up from our station point. we've touched upon the cone of vision, which is here, which we've shown as the 60 degrees. And what this shows is the area in which you're sort of going to capture. So everything within this sort of blue line here, within the two blue lines, sorry, will be shown without distortion. So anything beyond that, if we widen these, things start to distort beyond that. But if we work on the principle that we've got 60 degrees cone of vision and anything within that we know is going to be proportionate and not distorted, it's a good thing to go off. And it's always keen to understand where this is, because you could locate it at various different points and work from that. I will lose that for now because it might be quite confusing, but there are going to be these PDFs all broken down individually, so you'll be able to see the cone of vision, the horizon line, the ground line and everything set up. So this is just a little walkthrough. So now we've got our ground line, we need to set our horizon line, which is our eye height, and as discussed before, this is going to be 1600, 1.6 meters off the floor. So to do that, we can draw a line from the ground line, say 1600. So you know what height that is, and then what we can do if we wish, we can just copy this line up. And with that you can use the move by points tool if you wish. And if you create a copy, create this box here, move that up. And then we call this one horizon line. And this is a key line at the drawing. Now we've got our horizon line and we've got our centre line. Where this crosses at this point on your section, this will become your vanishing point. So we can show that, again, always good to annotate, where we've got these 2 points that meet. We know that this is a critical part of any any perspective really, one point perspective in particular. This is our vanishing point. So all lines, as discussed, converge to this point. In the section, we can start to draw the perspective view of the space. First we'll draw the main outlines of the room itself, and then we will go up into the plan, locate the rear corners of the room to identify heights, which we will then translate into the section below. So first of all, in the section view, we'll connect the VP, so our vanishing point, to point A. Then we'll do the same again to points, just again using our line tool, to hit them to B. Repeat the process to C and to D. So from this point, we now have sort of the 4 corners of the room that are moving away from us, back toward the vanishing point. Now if we jump back up into plan, we can locate the top left corner of the room. So if we look at D, for example, this is where our station point comes in handy. So we need to take a point from top left corner, which is D, to our station point. And where it cuts the picture plane, this is the key. So we pick up the line where it cuts the picture plane, draw a line down from this to our plan, and then where this cuts line D, so VP and D, so where this line cuts across, this is now going to be our D1. So label that, I've just got this ghosted out here, but we will label that D1. So we can repeat this process for C, so where we know our point C, which is our top right corner, take this to the station point, where this cuts the picture plane, draw a line down, and then where this cuts the line VP to C, so this is this corner of the room here, we can label that C1 or C. Is that there? D1 and C1, we now have these in our section, are the top two corners of the room step back. So we know that in 1 point perspective, there's a horizontal plane. So most things, well, all lines should be horizontal or vertical, and then you have the angles which show the perspective. So we can join these two together, which is, make sure you get the point one, D1 and C1, and then that will give you the top of the rear wall. It's also a good thing to note that we went through the exercise of locating the corner of C by cutting through the picture plane and then drawing a line down. But when you start to become a little bit more familiar with the 1 point perspective, you could probably cut a few corners and know that once you've got the point of D and you know the room is square, you can just draw that line across, and that will give you C1. So similarly, we know that this is the rear corner of the room, and we know that if we were to bring this line down here, keep it vertical, we know that where VP and B, so this is the back corner of the room on the floor, we know that where that cuts that point there, we know that it's the base of this wall. So we can label that, as we've got here, C2. So before we locate the bottom left corner of the room, we first need to understand the height of the platform and how that's going to impact that. So in section view, we just need to draw a faint horizontal line at the top of the platform, so a line that passes through B and Z is shown here. So draw that through, and then where that crosses the wall, well, that intersects with this wall, that is point Q. So this gives an indication of the height of the platform on the left-hand side of the room. So simply, we just draw that line across. Much like we did with the other corners of the room, so B, C and D, we're going to connect Q back to our vanishing point. So this line here now gives an indication of the platform height along the rear wall. We need to do the same again for the plan to understand where this hits the section. So on plan, you can see that this line here indicates the beginning of a platform, and then where we've got these steps, these are the steps. So we've got this is called the rise, so we've got 1, 2, 3 rises here, which relate to the steps in section here. So point E is where the platform connects with the wall. So much like how we found point D, the bottom corner, top left corner of this, we would do the same for E. So from point E, where the platform connects with the wall, we will draw a line back to our station points. And like we did before, we will draw a line down from where the picture plane is cut through the drawing. And where this line intersects AVP and QVP, this is the corner of our platform. So we can label that E, which is the top, and we'll bring that forward. And then we've also got E1, which is at the base. So now we know this, again, like we did with D1 and C1, knowing that planes run horizontally if this is the rear of the room, the top rear of the room. We know that this is the top of our platform at E, so we can draw a line horizontally from this point. Down here. Get rid of that. We can draw a line through, and at the base we draw a line through, so we know that this is the top and bottom of the stage, and then we will move forward and then work out where this stage and the steps meet. Stage front ends, we'll do the same process as we've done for finding EE, where we will locate that point on the plan, so that is point F, which is shown here. We will draw a line from that point